One of the areas that we were able to announce today as well is that we were one of 23 cities in the United States that on a competitive basis brought some money down for rapid rehousing. Could you tell us about that program?
Well, in the efforts that we've been making on the individual side, people who are living on the street for a long time or living in shelters for a long time, what we've come to discover is the quicker we can get people into housing, the more stable their lives become, and they get into a trajectory of recovery from addiction or recovery from mental illness or recovery from economic difficulties. We know that that works for people who are individuals who are on our streets and long-term in our shelters. We're now wanting to see, will that same strategy work for families? So we set aside some money in Washington, about $25 million, and made it highly competitive. Only cities that competed very well in the last funding round from HUD would receive that funding. And of course, Orlando was one of 23 cities selected. More than $1.1 million will be coming here to Orlando, specifically targeted to rapidly rehouse homeless families. And of course, given what the economy is doing, that double trouble that our country faces of job loss and foreclosures, many of those families, we believe, that you'll rapidly rehouse are families who have been plagued by job loss or by foreclosures. And that just makes sense. These aren't families that have mental health issues or addiction issues or any other kind of issues. It's simply economic. And the last thing we want them doing is spiraling down into a subculture of homelessness. So congratulations on winning that $1.1 million. And I have to tell you, that joins another $500,000 that we recently sent to Orlando, specifically targeted to people who have served our country in the military and find themselves on the streets or in the shelters. We sent enough money to rapidly rehouse 70 veterans who are here in Orlando. So congratulations on those resources as well. The confidence that we now have in Washington through your 10-year plan, through the kind of partnership that you've been able to create, is that the resources we're sending is an investment. And when any of us makes an investment, we expect a return on that investment. And the return that we're seeing in Orlando is fewer people on the streets, fewer people long-term homeless. Obviously, the number of families has ticked up a little bit, but we think the same strategies that you've used for individuals are going to work with families.
Well, and it's the same when we try to go get private dollars from charitable organizations. They want to see measurable results. So we feel that it's very important that we have a product that we can say, this actually worked, and here's how it worked.
You know, for too many years, I couldn't agree more with the foundations, because that's our anticipation now in the federal government. We want to see results. For too many years, we thought that good intentions, well-meaning programs, and humanitarian gestures would get the job done on homelessness. Frankly, they haven't. They have never correlated actually with any reduction in homelessness. What we've learned is we need to have a strong heart on this issue, but we need to have an active mind. We need to have a strategic mind as well. And I think that's exactly what's happened here in Orlando. You've combined that strong heart. Is there a city more hospitable? You are the mecca of hospitality, of course, for people from all over the world. You've got that strong element going, the hospitality element, but now you've joined that element to a strategic plan that just makes sense. It makes common sense, and in fact, it makes dollars and cents as well for the taxpayers here in your county.
Well, and we certainly appreciate your leadership on this issue. You joined us at our very first Regional Commission meeting and challenged us to do the best that we could possibly do, and you've come back time and time again to visit us and reiterate that, so I thank you for your leadership.
Well, it's such a pleasure to come back here to Orlando. The hospitality is always first-rate and top-notch, but much more importantly, what you're doing for your homeless neighbors right now, it puts you in the forefront of cities around our country, so I'm very appreciative of the effort that you've made.
Why don't you close and explain that today is February 25th and why you might have a blemish on your forehead.
Of course. I had the great privilege, and I'm so touched actually by having been here in Orlando on Ash Wednesday, and I was able to have a break in my schedule at about noontime, and I went down to the cathedral, and the bishop gave a very beautiful sermon today about the spiritual recovery that we need as a nation, and I couldn't agree with him more. I think some of the difficulties we have come from greed, one of those basic sins. So I had a great privilege of being there in the cathedral, and I received my ashes here in Orlando, and that touches me greatly as well, just as it touches me that you're doing the right thing for your homeless neighbors.
Well, it was great to have you as our initial guest on our first webcast from the city of Orlando.
Great. Well, I'm honored to have been here. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.